Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jerome, and thank you for watching Digital Reality Art, where this is more than just art. It is a lifestyle. I'm working on that intro. Hopefully that's not too corny, but that might work for the meantime. But we're here to talk about three key things, in my opinion, that will make your art that much greater. Now, of course, art is subjective. What you might find amazing and beautiful, I may not agree. I might find, art A to be one of the greatest things, and you might just think it's the most garbage thing in the world. But I do think that we all can agree that amazing art has three key elements. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to art that takes its time, that takes the sweat and the effort into it, it's really noticeable. You know what I'm saying? You can tell the difference between someone spending 5-10 minutes on a piece compared to someone who takes 5 to 6 months on a piece. It just shows in the artwork. And one way that it shows is the dedication, the value, and the pride into that work. And that kind of work, at least to me, in my opinion, is what is considered to be great art, because it takes a lot of energy from that artist into that painting or whatever that they're creating. So here are my three things that I constantly remind myself while I'm creating my own art, which I think is pretty amazing. These three things that I continue to tell myself to put into my work to make it great. All right, guys. So tip number one is obsessing over the details. Yes, the small details makes the bigger picture. Now, of course, this can translate in many ways when you're doing your art. And one of them, of course, is zooming in all the way into your art. Now, not too many art styles require you to do this, but when it comes to realistic art and trying to create something that's an exact copy to the best of your ability, you're going to have to zoom in to where you see a few pixels on your screen, and you're just moving pixels around just to get the perfect shading or get the perfect arc correctly on an eye. You might have to zoom in more than what you're used to doing, and you know that that's going to create something beautiful. And consistently referring back to your reference picture, that plays a part. You're going to be looking at this reference picture probably just as many times or even more than you do your actual artwork, because you know that's exactly your goal, is to make it realistic. So of course you're going to have to be moving back and forth and back and forth. And the good thing with Procreate, it makes it a little bit more easier to have your reference picture right there alongside of you, so you don't have to keep switching applications or whatnot. So another thing when you're trying to obsess over the details is knowing that the eraser is going to be your best friend. The eraser is going to allow you to continuously make mistakes, because I've been doing realistic art for years and years, and I can't just draw or paint something just in one try. I'm constantly erasing, toning down things, erasing again, trying, and it's a never ending process. And the eraser is now one of my best friends when I'm creating digital art on Procreate. And of course, the main thing when you're obsessing over the details is paying attention to the slightest details when you're trying to create realistic art, because those small details is what makes people unique or makes things unique. And people, if you're drawing a famous celebrity, it's certain things, it's the certain way that someone eye is, or their lips are, or their hair, or their nose, that makes them, that makes them unique. And you need to pay attention. You're going to find yourself noticing the little weird, quirky things in someone's face or in their eyes or their ears, because you're paying that close attention to that person's face or whatever object that you're trying to draw. So those slightest details helps you create amazing, realistic art. Now, patience. Patience is tip number 2, and nothing great is created overnight. Now, of course, it might be a few anomalies out there, and I'm not really talking about everything in the world, but 99.9999% of the time, nothing is created that is great, that is amazing, that puts the awe into people's mouths. Nothing like that is created overnight. And it dang sure ain't created in 5 to 10, 15, 20 minutes. Okay. And I'm talking about realistic art, or at least in that concept, because the more time you put into your art, the better. You know, because you know the value of taking your time and putting that time into something, because people who are not artists, who are not artistic, they can tell someone's artwork that they just put 10 minutes into. Or they can definitely tell the difference when someone put 10 hours into a piece of art. And it's really noticeable. And I think, at least in my opinion, people appreciate the time, the sweat, the effort that you put into your art, and that makes them say, dang, that's pretty amazing. You know, and at least to me, that's all that's worth it. And that cannot be done if you don't put the time into it. And when you know you have patience, you won't be afraid to mess up, or to try new things, to try new mediums, or to mix up certain colors. Even though you're doing realistic art, you might want to spice it up a bit. You know, I tried that a couple of times in my previous art, and I will definitely show you that. But when you know you have patience and time, and you're not under, you know, a time constraint, you kind of feel more relaxed. And when you're more relaxed, you can create special, great art. And with patience, when it comes to creating realistic art, your number one goal, obviously, is to be as accurate as possible. And that cannot be done if you're rushing. And I might even try that one day, but you cannot rush something that is meant to be great. So your goal is to be realistic as possible. So you need to take your time, look at every single piece of detail, and take your time. That is the key. Take your time, and you will create something great. All right. And tip number 3 is enjoying the process. Now, tips like this can be utilized in other areas in your life other than art, your work, relationships, your work ethics, your personal life, relationships with friends, family. Enjoying the process and knowing the end product will be worth it. Now, people can tell when you put the time and effort into your art. And at least to me, that makes the end process enjoyable. When I create something that took 22, 32 hours, and people can look at my artwork and just say, wow, that's amazing. That right there is worth it. And it's that genuine wow. You know, and something that I am not ashamed to show people, because I know it's great. Because I put in the time, I put in the effort, I put in the hours to make something great. And I know it's great. And people can tell that. And you can tell that genuine joy and excitement and wow when you show them your art. And at least to me, another thing that makes this more enjoyable, in my opinion, is the challenge with realistic art. Now, with realistic art, not everybody has the skills to pay attention to the smallest of details, to notice more than just two tones on somebody's face, or have the time or the patience to do realistic art. And I think, in my opinion, that's why a lot of people stray away from it and do more cartoonish type art, because that's a little bit more easier. It's not time consuming, and you can break the rules when it comes to boundaries when it comes to a realistic more approach. And at least to me, I like the challenge, because not too many people can do that. So if I can do something that a lot of people can't do or don't want to do, that makes my artwork stand out. That makes my artwork that much better, because I'm stepping up to the plate. I'm doing something with my own creativity and making something realistic with my hands. That's amazing. And then when doing that, the process becomes more bearable, because I know the end goal is worth it. And not too many people can cross this finish line. All right, guys. So like I said, if you apply these 3 tips, in which, I mean, you can expound on even more than this, but I think these are, at least in my opinion, the 3 core things into your artwork, I guarantee that you will make something great. And you can even apply these tips and tricks, or whatever you want to call it, into your personal life. And I guarantee whatever you're working on will have a better outcome. Now, for more tips or tricks, or even see me draw a little bit or create something great, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find me on Twitch, where I'm live streaming 3 times a week. And remember, art isn't just art, it's a way of living. Peace.